Aquarius, March of 2025 is going to be one of the most important and impactful months we have this year, and it's going to affect you in specific ways. So in this video, I want to give you your complete rundown into your March of 2025 horoscope and specifically how these eclipses are going to affect you. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about Aquarius's March of 2025 horoscope and eclipse season horoscope. These are one and the same and yet different in the sense that both eclipses are going to be happening in the month of March of 2025, but also there's additional transits happening that are going to influence how these eclipses play out. So there's major themes that are going to play out throughout the entirety of this year for you based off of eclipse season, but also specific themes for your March of 2025. So in this video, I'm going to break this all down. In this video specifically, I'm going to cover the major themes for Aquarius in March, how the Virgo and Aries eclipses will affect Aquarius, additional transits in March and how they will affect Aquarius, and practical tips for Aquarius to work through this energy in March. So if you're someone who not only likes to take in the information of astrology, but know how to apply it to your life, watch through to the end of this video where I'm going to share some of my top tips for Aquarius to utilize this energy to their benefit. I feel like it is hilarious to see the dogs that I'm dog sitting just go back and forth on the screen in the background, and I know my viewers are going to notice it. Also, quick side note, I am trying out a new film studio. It's probably not going to be the permanent one. I know there's a bit of an echo, so I apologize, but I'm already too vested to move spots. And before I dive in and before we get any further, be sure to book a reading down in the link in the description below, where in 1 hour we can dive deep into any and everything about astrology, your chart, transits. Sky is the limit. So check it out down below. I'm also now offering 30-minute horoscopes. So if you just want to get your personalized, customized horoscope for the new moon or the full moon, in this case, the eclipses, book in the link in the description below. Same link in the description below. Get your 30-minute personalized horoscope. And final note, I want to announce that I've just recently launched my astrology coaching membership. For just $100 a month, you get personalized astrology coaching and overview into the transits ahead. So we do monthly overviews and personalize it to what it is you're trying to achieve and strive for in life, whether that's self-growth, simply put, or a new career, new relationship, you name it. Learn more in the link in the description below. So first and foremost, what are some of the major themes presenting themselves for Aquarius in March of 2025? Aquarius, I would say that this month of March is really revolving for you around your connection to others, in the sense that you're going to be doing a lot of realization around what intimacy and intimate connection means to you, but also a lot of new initiations around your daily network and your daily communication. How you connect with people in lighthearted ways in a day-to-day basis, whether that is through digital means, online, social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or in the everyday interactions with your neighbors in your daily network or networking events. The reason I say this is because you have a lot of 8th and 3rd house energy present. So your intimate relationships, your dependent relationships are highlighted, especially in the first half of the month. But throughout the month, you're doing a lot of realizations around your daily network and your communication and what it is you exactly need here for fulfillment. This is something that you've worked on for a long time. So it can feel like you're finally starting to get those realizations around what you need in your daily network, daily communications, in your writings and publishings, since this has to do with our social network on a day-to-day basis. And these could be things that you've been working on for a long time, but before you can initiate something new, there's going to be a lot of introspection around how you communicate yourself on a day-to-day basis, meaning really paying attention to the words spoken, the conversations that are had, and how fulfilling they are to you. You're really reflecting on the value of your social network, having a place where you feel that you are connected to the outside world, having those daily lighthearted interactions that remind you you're not alone, you're not unseen. These are going to be highlighted throughout the month for you. And this is mainly because we have eclipse season present with eclipses in Virgo and Aries. This is highlighting your 3rd and 8th house, But not only is these eclipses highlighting these themes for you, we also have some other transits as well, which I will get to in a minute. But now let's talk about the main themes, why these are present, which is because of eclipse season. How specifically will the Virgo and Aries eclipse affect you? Aquarians, I mean it when I say that eclipses are the most important events of the year, arguably. And if you're going to watch any one transit, follow any one transit, I would recommend the eclipses for this month, because eclipses act as mile markers and key points in our journey. I love how moon omens describe them as portals, in the sense that sometimes in life, it can feel like we are stuck in a room with no way out. We hit plateaus almost, in a sense of we don't know where our next direction is in life. Things start to get a bit superficial or almost matrix feeling, where it feels like we're just in a program and there's no way out. There's no deeper meaning, no way forward. So being stuck in that room with no doors, no windows, no way out, eclipses act as a portal, making a door appear. In the end, eclipses bring destined life events, destined changes, and any sort of unexpected changes sometimes, or culminations, in order to help us find our direction on our path. It's almost like a current within an ocean. Or caught in a riptide, so to say, is the idea, a rip current that pulls us in the direction that we need to go by bringing destined fruitions, completions, fulfillments, things into your life, and new initiations, new beginnings, new people, new places. So eclipses activate certain areas of our life so that we can move towards our growth and follow our destiny, so to say. Starting off in this month relevantly, March 14th, we will have a total lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees of Virgo that forms very positive aspect to Uranus in Taurus. You may be able to get some similar themes looking back to the full moon in Leo that we had last month, I believe on February 12th, that had Uranus aspect to it. However, challenging aspect, but maybe you can get some themes there as well, just additional information. Point being, for you, Aquarius, what this Virgo lunar eclipse does for you is that it's bringing to light, culminating, reaping rewards for you in your intimate relationships. However, I do want to note the 8th house is the house, as I got questioned about, isn't it not about intimate relationships? Isn't that the 7th house? To my understanding, the 8th house is all about our intimate relationships. 7th house is handshake agreements. 8th house brings to light intimate relationships, but that also includes your intimate relationship to yourself. You can only be as intimate with others or as vulnerable and deep with others as you are deep with yourself. And so this is why oftentimes when we're looking at the 8th house, we see words like shadow work, inner work, and also sexuality and intimacy, because this really revolves around the merging of lives, the phase of life where we merge finances, merge mentalities, merge routines, merging with another for the sake of depth and intimacy. So for you, Aquarius, the Virgo lunar eclipse in your 8th house is bringing to light the changes that are yet to come in your intimate relationships over the next 18 months. The South Node is currently in the sign of Virgo, and it has been since January 11th of 2025. And wherever the South Node transits, this is where we are purging, cleansing, detoxing, releasing to make space for what really fulfills us. And so for you, with this being your 8th house, you may be realizing some critical, materialistic, selfless patterns in your intimate relationships, your codependent relationships that are no longer serving you. How I would see this likely playing out for an Aquarius, or in this case, is maybe you realize you're selflessly giving too much in your intimate relationships. Maybe you're acting as a housewife, so to say, to your partner, and that's no longer fulfilling for you. That wasn't your idea of what an intimate shared relationship would be. You're redefining what an intimate relationship means to you over the next 18 months. And this Virgo total lunar eclipse is going to be a key moment, shining a light on what it is exactly that you need to let go of during this time, and also at the same time, reaping a reward. A lunar eclipse is a full moon, and full moons are, while they shining a light, they are also a time to reap reward. They're always time to reap harvest. That is always what is said. And so you may be realizing what no longer serves you in your intimate relationships, and at the same time, reaping reward by having that realization and starting to see what the potential is in your intimate relationships so you can find that fulfillment. So the Virgo lunar eclipse in your 8th house, also forming good aspect to a fellow fixed sign in Taurus, could mean something unexpected breakthroughs in your sense of stability. This could specifically involve changes with your home, since as I calculated, I think correctly, that the 4th house, or Uranus and Taurus, is in your 4th house for you. So unexpected changes in home that you've been working towards stability in home could come into play with this Virgo lunar eclipse. But like I was saying, this is only one half of the eclipse season of March of 2025. This is only one half of the story that is playing out. Yes, we are basically opening a storyline that is going to take place over the next 18 months, but we're also closing out a 2-year cycle. And that is because on March 29th, we are going to have our final solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. From July of 2023 to January of 2025, the North Node was in Aries. And what that means is that we were all growing to learn some form of authenticity, independence, and assertion in a certain area of our life. And these themes kicked off starting in April of 2023, before the North Node even entered the sign, because we had our first solar eclipse, I believe, in 29 degrees of Aries. So if you look back to starting in April of 2023 and then accentuated in April 2024, and possibly even some themes starting to grow in July of 2023, you're going to see that you were maybe trying to initiate authenticity and independence within your daily network and the way you communicate on a day-to-day basis. If you happen to be an entrepreneur or an influencer who does digital work, online work in some form of writing blogs, publishing content, this is also tied in, because in the end, the root theme with the 3rd house is the words that are spoken on a daily basis or that reach people on a daily basis. So hence why it is our daily network as our neighbors and the grocery store clerk is the idea. Or it's also our social media, our writings and our publishings. And so that also ties into the idea of objective information, which is also a theme of the 3rd house. So this could be if you're writing a book or publishing content of any kind, this also ties in. Point being, with the eclipses that have happened in Aries in your 3rd house for you, Aquarius, it can feel like over the last 2 years, you're trying to initiate a bold, authentic new beginning in the way you express yourself, in the way you communicate yourself, in the people you network with. And yet, at the same time, it felt like this story was left with some loose ends. Yes, the North Node entered Pisces on January 11th of 2025, but it can feel like there was unfinished business. And that is because we have been waiting for this final solar eclipse in Aries to wrap up this story. The solar eclipse in Aries at 9 degrees of Aries on March 29th is here to bring you that final new beginning you are looking for, that is destined in part of your destiny, part of your highest growth, to initiate bold new change in your daily network, your daily communication style, the things you publish, your writing, your content creation, and your social media. And I really want to tie in the idea of the numerology 9 presenting itself here, because the solar eclipse happens at 9 degrees of Aries. Mercury is going to station retrograde at 9 degrees of Aries. And we had our new moon in Pisces on February 27th at 9 degrees of Pisces. The numerology 9 keeps presenting itself. And the numerology 9 is meant to be the completion of the journey, the final number, so to say, with 0 representing both the beginning and the end, the preface and the completion, similar to Pisces. Point being, numerology 9 is said to be the number of completion. It represents a symbolic finishing of our journey, becoming, so to say, the wise old sage. But at the same time, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so throughout our journey of having the North Node in Aries and the eclipses in Aries, there's been this energy of being imperfect and being the fool in many ways in the tarot, being innocent, naive, not knowing any better, unknowing of the danger, but knowing they have to start taking the first steps. Their innocence is their demise and their strength. And so really this energy that presents itself with the solar eclipse in Aries that keeps trying to remind itself of its energy with Mercury stationing retrograde at 9 degrees and the new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees is this aura of understanding that we are the wise old sage who understands they are forever a student of life. Reaching this point of wisdom and completion from past experience, and knowing at the same time that our growth journey is never complete. It really is embracing imperfection, which is also a theme with the lunar eclipse already in Virgo, which has heightened themes of recognizing our perfectionist patterns. So releasing perfectionism is a huge theme. And for you, this is really tying into not only your intimate relationships, but your daily network, who you surround yourself with, the outside world you are connected to, and the words spoken in that outside world. For you, you're wanting to initiate a new beginning here, and you can very well initiate a broad, bold new beginning aligned with your authenticity in your daily network, daily communication, daily publishings, writings, creation, so that from a place of wisdom, you can understand that you're imperfect. It's really taking that final, so to say, next new step that you know you need to take from a place of wisdom, knowing that this isn't the end game ultimatum answer, but I know this is the next step, and that is okay. And so again, this for you, this March 29th solar eclipse in Aries is you initiating new beginning in how you communicate yourself on a day-to-day basis, who you communicate yourself to on a day-to-day basis, your daily network that you surround yourself with, the things that you write, the things that you create, the words that are spoken, the books that you publish on a day-to-day basis, your teachings as well. I was really trying to clarify the themes of the third house in my entire interpretation for your major themes and the Aries eclipse, because the third house is often very misunderstood, or at least I notice it leaves a lot of confusion. So let me know in the comments below if that was clarifying for you, or if you still need more clarity on what exactly third house themes bring up. But in summary for you, Aquarius, again, if you're going to note any transit in March of 2025, I would note the eclipses. And so you can take a screenshot over the screen of your Aquarius eclipse season horoscope. With the Virgo lunar eclipse in your 8th house, simply put, you're taking the first step in letting go of what practical, critical, or materialistic behaviors no longer serve you in your intimate relationships, codependent relationships, shared finances, and intimacy. And by letting go, you're experiencing a moment of fulfillment in this area of life. With the Aries solar eclipse in your 3rd house, you are finally initiating the new beginnings in your communication, social network, social media, publishings, and writings that you have been working on since 2023. The number one thing I'd recommend you ask yourself during this time is, what independence and authenticity is my soul ready to initiate in my network and communication? And what perfectionist, materialistic, or critical behaviors do I need to let go of in order to feel true fulfillment in my intimate relationships, codependent relationships, shared finances, and intimacy? Really last quick note on those themes of the 8th house as well. Yes, it could be if you're in an intimate relationship, there could be something very physically changing in your intimate relationship. But if you're not in an intimate relationship, this does also revolve around reflecting on what it is you value in intimate connections, or any connection where an asset or part of you becomes dependent, because that is the true theme of the 8th house. So if you're dependent on a parent, or a parent is dependent on you, if you are dependent on a friend for emotional connection, if it feels like there is a dependency or a merging of assets, this is highlighted this month. So with that all being said, the eclipses are the major players, so to say, in the month of March of 2025 for you, Aquarius. But there's also additional transits happening that are going to affect how these eclipses play out, because yes, it brings completion, culmination, and new beginnings that are destined. But there's some introspection work that is indicated in the stars that needs to be done first before you can initiate those new beginnings. Starting off first with Venus transits. Venus does a lot of movement this month that plays a big role in how you go about initiating these new beginnings in your everyday network, everyday communication, reading, writing, and publishing. Starting off on the very first of the month, which is already in the past as of filming this video, Venus stations retrograde in the sign of Aries. And to make it short, sweet, and simple, what this means for you is you're reflecting on your values within your daily network and the way you communicate yourself, whether that is digital or in person. You have to reflect on your values here before you can initiate a new beginning. Venus is, yes, the planet of love. And so this could mean love interest coming back through your everyday network, your daily network, or through your connections, or rephrasing that, you could be finding love interests through your daily network, but it could also be love interests coming back to you through things that you have published, written, created, that are teaching specifically. But in the end, Venus is not just about love, life, it's about our love for life. That is the core theme of Venus. It shows us what makes us live a beautiful life, which often includes romance, hence why Venus is the planet of love as well. But Venus stationing retrograde, especially in context to your third house in this case, indicates that there is a reflection needing to be taken on what brings you a love for life in your everyday communication, in your everyday network. So meaning that throughout the month of March, until we have the solar eclipse and when Venus retrograde re-enters Pisces on the 27th, you are going to be reflecting on your values and what brings you a love for life in your daily communication. This could also mean that you are revisiting old things, old people, old networks that brought you that sense of value, especially the value that is in alignment with the growth work you've tried to do over the last 18 months. So meaning that if you felt like there was a daily network that gave you that sense of authenticity you were looking for, you could feel called to revisit it. Or if there was an old writing project that you had where maybe you were writing a book, you could be revisiting that project to assess it for value. Or maybe in another interpretation, you're taking a break from it all to ask yourself, what is it that I value in this area of life? In the end, Venus retrograde is the invitation to reflect on your values before you can initiate the new change. And Venus does a lot of aspects within the month before it enters Pisces once again on the 27th of March, but I will get to those mainly all in the later segment. The only one I will note is on March 22nd, the Sun in Aries conjuncts Venus in Aries. So this is when you can feel a little more vitality, understanding, clarity, energy in this introspective work. Mercury also does a lot of transits in the sign of Aries and out in the month of March, which represents a need to communicate, learn, and reflect on, again, not only your values, but your everyday communication and your everyday network itself. Starting on March 3rd, which is tomorrow as of filming this video, Mercury enters Aries, and therefore at 0 degrees, which I'll mention again in a minute. But with Mercury being in Aries throughout the month, what this means when it's direct is you may be wanting to learn more about your everyday network. You may want to communicate more in your everyday network. Your conversations could be highlighted in your everyday network. In everyday network, that means the people you talk to on a day-to-day basis. It means the people that you lightly converse with on a day-to-day basis. And it could be the people you simply put come to mind when you think of your network. This could also mean that you have a desire to write more, to publish more content, especially if you are someone in the digital world on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. There's a desire to communicate here with Mercury being in Aries. And it is emphasized to lean into this to help you understand what it is you need to initiate when we have the solar eclipse in Aries at the end of the month. Mercury not only stations direct in Aries, goes through Aries in forward motion for the first half of the month, but starting on March 15th, Mercury is retrograde in Aries at 9 degrees of Aries, bringing back that idea, that concept, that symbolism of wise old sage who understands they're forever a student of life. Wisdom, but knowing their imperfection. And this presents itself for you in your communication and in your learning. So the first half of the month, you may feel like you're making progress in understanding what it is you need to do in your daily network, your daily communications, and your publishings. But then in the second half of the month, after the lunar eclipse in Virgo, you may be revisiting old publishings, revisiting old networks, revisiting what you have done so far and reflecting on what you have learned so far in order to initiate that new beginning. Mercury will be retrograde at 0 degrees of Aries, the final or first degree of Aries at the time of the solar eclipse. So you can look back to March 3rd when Mercury initially entered Aries and see what you were thinking about during that time that could come back as a key player in the solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th. But point being, with Mercury being also, just simply put, retrograde in Aries for the second half of the month and present during the eclipse in Aries, this means that in order to initiate a new beginning, you have to look back at the work you've done over the last 2 years in this area of life. Reflect, take away what you've really learned during this time, and invite conversation around this topic. Again, this could be similar to Venus retrograde themes. You could be revisiting old networks, getting in touch with old people who used to be part of your network, revisiting old writing projects as well, re-downloading old social media apps to find that sense of network that you're looking for. But in the end, the core theme with Mercury being retrograde in Aries is reflect on the work you've done in your everyday communication, your everyday network. On March 29th/30th, after the solar eclipse peaks in Aries, Mercury will retrograde, re-enter Pisces, and be conjunct Neptune. And that symbolically represents, alongside when Venus does this as well, when both these do this on the 27th and the 30th, you're starting to then think about what you're going to be doing over the next 18 months in relevance to your finances and your self-worth after you've initiated that new beginning that you need in your everyday networking communication. Because yes, the North Node is currently in Pisces, and it's going to be until July of 2026, which means over the next 17 months, you are focused on growing into your self-worth, in your financial well-being, to acquire physical assets and to build a grounded foundation emotionally for yourself. But before you can do that, you have to wrap up this story with your everyday communication. And when Venus retrograde re-enters Pisces on the 27th, and when Mercury retrograde re-enters Pisces on the 30th/29th, you can start to feel that reflection energy on asking yourself, what do I need to do here? What is my value here? What am I currently valuing? What do I need to do? What do I need to revisit? Back to the note on Mercury to wrap that up. Mercury again does a few transits or aspects throughout the month as well, not only stationing retrograde. On March 11th, Mercury in Aries will be conjunct Venus in Aries, which means you may be communicating a value that you're reflecting on, simply put, in your daily network, daily communication, or having a insightful conversation on what you need to do in your daily network with an old lover, potentially. One interpretation there of many. On March 5th, you'll see that I skipped over that there is a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. That is because I have a whole separate segment on this, especially because it plays out so impactfully for you. I don't know if impactfully, I'm pretty sure that's not a word, but we're rolling with it. On March 24th, the Sun in Aries will conjunct Mercury retrograde in Aries, which means that you may have extra energy and vitality in your introspective process, simply put. Not only in the month of March are the major themes around the Virgo lunar eclipse and the Aries solar eclipse, which highlights your intimate relationships in your daily network, but you have an ally in this month that is helping you figure out what it is exactly you need to initiate with the Aries solar eclipse on the 29th in your daily network, daily communication. And that is your recent work you've done in your self-identity, especially over the last 2 months. Pluto is in your sign, which I know for many, this can feel like Aquarius, you felt like you've been under pressure. It's been very transformative. It has been exhausting. But Pluto in Aquarius brings you the self-transformation you need to break free from any generational patterns you have associated with self-identity, appearance, and who you want to be in this world. Pluto did a lot of aspects in the month of January and February, especially at the end of January and the beginning of February from what I can remember. So you can look back to then to see what you were doing in relevance to your sense of self, your independence, your appearance, and who you are in the world to know how exactly you'll be forming an alliance with this energy in this month of March. Meaning that Pluto, simply put, forms a few sextiles to Aries energy. And this is a positive aspect. Sextiles act as, I would call it, friends sitting at a table, helping each other figure out their issues that they have. So you've been trying to transform your sense of self, and the transformation you've tried to do with your sense of self is going to work hand in hand with the growth work that you want to do in your everyday communication. The new initiations in alignment with your authentic, independent self in your everyday communication and your daily network. So on March 5th, Mercury in Aries will sextile Pluto in Aquarius, and this will come back 20 days later on the 25th when Mercury is retrograde and forms the same sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So on the 5th, you may be having a conversation or doing some sort of learning understanding, discovery, conversation about what it is you want to initiate in your everyday network and your everyday communication. And you could be realizing that this works very hand in hand with the transformation work you're trying to do, the things you're trying to heal and let go of in your sense of self in January/February of 2025. And again, when that theme comes back 20 days later on the 25th, you may be revisiting that inner dialogue or conversation that you had. On March 21st, Venus retrograde in Aries will form a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. And on the 23rd, the Sun in Aries will form that sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So on the 21st and the 23rd, there could be extra energy here and assessing values. And this is, again, just simply put, working hand in hand with the self-development work you've done in the beginning of the year in relevance to your self-transformation, appearance, identity. In the end, it's a very helpful and positive energy for growth and change. And the final major themes of transits that I want to mention through the month of March is Pisces energy. Like I said, you have to wrap up this chapter in regards to your everyday network and your daily communication. But and this is the things you have to wrap up before you can step into your journey revolving around growing into self-sufficiency, self-worth, self-security, financial well-being. But you do get a taste of the changes that are going to come here and the growth work you're going to do here in the month of March, because we have a few Pisces transits. One small one to note: on March 2nd, Mercury in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. So you may be having this inner sense of intuitive knowing what your next step is going to be in your growth journey. And then on March 2nd as well, the Sun in Pisces squares Jupiter in Gemini, which, if I'm calculating correctly, that should be your 5th house. So it may feel like the recent expansion you've done to your pleasure, play, and romance is not going hand in hand with the next step you need to take for your self-worth. And this is just something to pause and observe, because they can find their happy medium set point, but it may feel like a conflict of interest. On March 8th, the Sun in Pisces forms a trine to Mars in Cancer. And so maybe the actions you've been working towards in your day-to-day life, your daily services, this could be going hand in hand and helping you understand how this can help you with your financial well-being, simply put. And on March 12th, the Sun in Pisces will conjunct Saturn in Pisces, roughly at the same time as that lunar eclipse in Virgo. So it may feel this sense of restriction around how you are going to make this growth happen, feeling the sense of maybe hopelessness and it's never going to happen. But taking the pause to know that this is a time for reflection with the full moon in Virgo, that something needs to be released before you can fill your cup anymore and make space for your growth. Last 3 oddballs, so to say, transits that I want to mention that are going to play out for you, Aquarius, in the month of March of 2025, that really didn't fit into any category, but just for the sake of giving you your complete horoscope, first and foremost, March 20th, Aries season begins, just for the sake of clarity on when that starts. And that is when you can start to really feel the energy of the solar eclipse in Aries start to kick off and put into high priority. I keep hearing the dog snoring in the background, and it's kind of funny to me. So I just keep getting distracted by that. And then on March 21st, Vesta goes retrograde in Scorpio. And the only reason I want to mention this is because on February 22nd, 23rd, we had a grand water trine involving Vesta direct in Scorpio. And so I'd invite you to look back and ask yourself, what were you feeling called to be devoted to in your career and recognition? Were you thinking that there's a certain persona you need to be? Was there a certain career calling? Was there an entrepreneurial path that you were saying, I need to be devoted to this, especially on a day-to-day basis, potentially? When Vesta goes retrograde in Scorpio in your 10th house, you may feel the sense of reflecting on or pausing that devotion, maybe not feeling so devoted to that energy. And it's nice and insightful to reflect on that devotion as well. And finally, we wrap up the month of March. On March 30th, Neptune enters Aries. And what that means is after you initiate or get the idea of what you need to initiate in your daily network and daily communications, as well as your publishings, Neptune follows suit into the sign to uphold idealism and give you an intuitive sense of motion forward rather than a linear logic. So with that long horoscope in mind, Aquarius, what do you do with that information? I want to take the last few minutes of this video to provide some practical tips for Aquarius to apply this energy, because there's so much information to take in. Hopefully I'll break this down into 3 simple tips. Starting off with number 1, look back to April of 2023 and 24. What were you trying to initiate in the daily network you have, in your everyday communication, and your publishings of any kind? So again, that could be a book you're writing, a blog, social media of any kind. What were you trying to initiate here during those two time periods of April of 23 and 24. And really try to discover what was the root desire of those intentions. Was it to try to find a sense of creative expression? Was it a sense of authenticity? Was it to be surrounded by people who are like-minded? There's no wrong answer here, but really try to come to and see if there's a similar theme or a major root desire that was at the core of the intentions or changes that you initiated during those two time periods. They can come back full force on March 29th when we have that solar eclipse in Aries for one final initiation, and understanding the root of what it is you're trying to initiate during this time can be extremely helpful in clarifying. Secondly, I would say invite communication as well as introspection around your everyday network and communication, simply because Venus is going to be retrograde throughout the month here in the sign of Aries, and Mercury is going to be here both direct and retrograde. Communication is highlighted, especially communication of values and communication to the self. That also includes communication to the self. Really make time to reflect, whether it's on your drive to work or sitting down and journaling about what insights you've learned over the last 2 years about your everyday communication and how you show up in your network. Maybe you're realizing what independence means here and how you value independence in this realm. Or maybe it's about authentic expression in a certain area of life. If you have a numerology 3 in your numerology combination, I suppose, then this would be extra highlighted, this idea of authentic expression. The third and final thing I would leave Aquarius with is remembering the fact that there's not just Aries energy present this month, there is a lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is huge, especially at the first half of the month, which my advice for that would be, what does intimacy mean to you? What is the ultimate win for you in an intimate connection? Whether that be a friendly connection where you guys intimately share emotion, or a parental relationship where you guys intimately share space, or a romantic relationship, words, where you intimately share many things, and physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, potentially as well. What is the win for you there? Really define how you currently merge with people or share yourself, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, financial, and what is serving you and what is not. Really defining what is beneficial to you and others in your intimate relationships will be extremely helpful in reaching the clarity you're looking for in your 8th house when we have that lunar eclipse in Virgo. Simply put, take the time to reflect on intimate relationships and what that means to you, not just romantic, but also any relationship where you share. Those are the 3 tips I would give to Aquarius for this month of March. Aquarius, let me know in the comments below. Did this resonate for you? Did I miss any transits? Are you looking forward to the month of March of 2025 and this eclipse season? Can you feel the energy of eclipse season? And did you like this video format? Because frankly, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna do these video formats again, because to film 12 45-minute long horoscopes is not helpful or not doable. But if you guys enjoyed this format, if you share it, if you like, if you subscribe, I'll be sure to film another one for the month of April up ahead. So let me know in the comments below. Let me know if it resonated. Let me know if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos. If you want to dive deeper into how this month specifically is going to play out for you, including eclipse season, book a reading down below where we can dive deep into your unique birth chart that plays such a pivotal role in how this energy expresses itself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sincerely hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name is Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.